Spicy Toast Gaming here. Thank you for tuning in to another video, and today we're covering Gnar in our ongoing series of how champions change at max level. Quite often a champion can change very differently when they're maxed out compared to when they are first starting out. By max we mean both level 30 and 3 stars. If you enjoy the video, like and subscribe, and let's get into it. So to start off, if you want to see some max level gameplay, we just posted a video yesterday showing Gnar at max with the 3 stars going through and dominating a Galio adventure. Gnar is very interesting. So he has a playstyle that has a lot of elements of early game aggression and aggro, but also a lot of control built into his deck as well. So if we take a look at his star powers, we see if you've damaged the enemy nexus this round, grant your allies impact twice. So this grants impact to your entire board. So because of that, you want to fill out your board, but you actually want to save your units and you don't want them to die because you're stacking this impact. Kind of like Misfortune, you're building out your board, but Misfortune, you normally don't care if your units die, you're often refilling them. With Gnar, you're trying to save and protect your units, and you have quite a lot of spells to do that. Beast within round start, create a wallop in hand. If you already have one, reduce its cost by 1. So this is kind of like Annie, where Annie you're making a guile every round. Except for Annie, it's fleeting, and it costs 1 and it's slow. This wallop, it's not fleeting, so this is going to be in your hand, and it's constantly getting reduced if you don't use it. Quite nice, and then this is also fast speed with 1 damage. This is just giving you a lot of options. Do you need a little bit of removal just to stop a unit? Do you need that stun? This is also at fast speed, so you can use it reactively, where with Annie, it's slow, so you have to use it before the unit attacks. Whereas here, even if they open attack on you, you still have something you can do to try to stop them. A lot of versatility, which is one reason why I love Gnar. For Gnar himself, you see, strike, create a pokey stick in hand. If you already have him, reduce its cost by 1. So that pokey stick, deal 1 to anything and draw 1. We'll look in the starting deck, but this actually has some items on it, so it's better than just this. But even if you look at this, gives you a little bit more removal or damage straight to the nexus if you want it, also giving you more draw. Very nice. But then round end, you've damaged the enemy nexus this round. So as long as you've damaged the enemy nexus, then Gnar at the end of the round is going to transform. Now this is the end of the round, so level up relics don't work on Gnar because they'll trigger at the end of the round, and essentially, even though they'll go off, it won't do anything because the round is over. So if you are thinking with Gnar, oh, he levels up multiple times, all of these different level up relics will be great for him. They're actually not. But if we take a look at his level up, when I level up, grant the strongest enemy vulnerable. Again, a nice way to have vulnerable that you can abuse a lot later. If you take a look at the gameplay, often what you can do is you can use the vulnerable to challenge the unit. And since you have Overwhelm, you can use one of the wallops you're generating every round to stun that unit, essentially giving you a free slot to attack without a blocker. Because normally if you attack and your blocker gets stunned, your attack fizzles and doesn't do anything. But with Overwhelm, you'll still go through and hit the Nexus. Really strong combo for Gnar for pushing extra damage. Again, if you want to see that actual gameplay, go check out the gameplay video. I do that many times. Round end, I've seen you start the round with the attack token, transforming back into Gnar. So this makes sure that you at least get to attack once with Gnar in his mega form before transforming back into his normal form. One thing to note, his small version gets the pokey stick when he strikes. The big version does not. So even though the big version has the Overwhelm, and that is very good, often you're using this to end the game, his striking with his normal form still is quite strong. Now I will say he is normally 4 cost and 3/3. So that's a lot of mana for not that many stats. Because of that, normally for your relics, I suggest throwing on Plunder. I cost 2 less. That way you're mitigating the fact that you're not playing him for 4 mana for such a low amount of stats. You're cheating him out normally in the first 2 rounds. And then Bounty Hunters works very well, just to giving you a lot of stats, especially in the later stages of the game. And so he's coming on the board normally like a 10-10 or 11-11 by the end of the game when you're finishing up your adventure. So very, very strong. The Dreadweight Chase Gun, again, very good for Gnar. For his star powers, you're wanting to damage the Nexus every single round. And so with this, you're getting these 2 chase shots that you can use to always damage the Nexus in rounds where you normally couldn't. Because of this, Gnar, when he starts off, he's quite a bit weaker, but you're just seeing all these elements that he's getting more and more abilities and stronger as he's leveling up. Because all these relics, they work so well on Gnar, but again, you can't get this early. Early game before you have these, playing him at 4 for a 3/3, very weak. Normally, you're not even going to be able to attack with him because the units are just going to be able to kill him. I get that it's very much of a struggle early on, but later on, you really become this powerhouse. If we take a look at his starting deck, you'll see here Pokey Stick gets that 1 extra damage, 2 cost, 2 to anything, and then draw 1, so essentially a better Mystic Shot. Tusk Speaker, very strong early game pressure. Again, you're using this to damage the Nexus in those rounds where you normally couldn't, or you're playing this to trigger the Plunder effect to get Gnar on the board earlier. And as you see here, Heroic Refrain and Primal Strength, these are both great combat tricks. Give allies 2/2 this round for 2 allies, and then Grifter's Deck. This is putting more copies of this in your deck. Also, there's supposed to be one other item on that. Why are we not seeing it there? So for some reason it's not showing in the starter deck, but we also have give allies 1/1 this round on the Heroic Refrain. So for some reason it's bugged, it's not showing it here, but even though you're giving your 2 allies the 2/1, you're buffing your entire board with 1/1. Again, a very strong upgrade. What you're doing to protect your units. Again, like we touched on with the star powers, since you're giving your whole board impact and you're stacking that up, you don't want any of your units to die. So Gnar, when he's starting out, you're a lot weaker. You have all of these elements, but normally things are just costing too much. You're not able to control the board as you need to, and your units are quite a bit weaker. But with the upgrades you're getting from leveling up, like you see, we get a nice Giant's Belt here, Phage, and then you're normally able to cheat Gnar out earlier and buff up his stats. So when you're first starting out, Gnar is quite weak, and he just doesn't feel like a complete package. You know you need to be aggressive, you're having to damage that Nexus every round, but normally you're just not able to get there. And so starting out, Gnar is one of the weaker champions in his region, but as you level him up, he gets so much stronger. For maxed out champions, especially maxed out champions for his region, he definitely dominates. He's an early game monster and also has a lot of control to back that up, as well as good amounts of combat tricks to protect his units and always win engagements. So if you're wanting a strong champion at the end game, especially for, I'd say, undisputably the worst region in the game, like Freljord is in general pretty bad. All their champions are either really slow or just kind of bad. Gnar is amazing once you get him maxed out. If you're struggling through, just know the payoff is worth it in the end, and you'll have one of the best champions in the game if you can take the time to put the shards into his star powers and level him up. I had to go through the struggle of leveling him up. Definitely want to tell you it is 100% worth it. All right, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Little bit rambly. If you did though, like and subscribe, and I hope you all have a great day.